Hey everybody, Tim Kaine here. It's about 8:35 on Thursday night, and we're starting into the real final phase of this battle, at least this chapter of the battle in the Senate about health care. We still don't know what the Republican plan is. Every plan they've put on the table, they have not been able to coalesce around. So the House bill that came over, the Senate won't even put that up for a vote. That is a complete carcass. It's still kind of the vehicle on the floor, but none of the senators want to vote for it. The senators put together their preferred repeal and replace bill, but they could only get 43 votes for that. They need at least 50, and they fell 7 short. They then put forward the just repeal and no replace bill, and they got 45 votes on that bill, which would have kicked about 32 million people off insurance. They got 45 votes, but again, short of 50. So what we've been hearing is, okay, they want to instead pass a skinny repeal, something that's really narrow that would go over to the House and hopefully get them involved with a conference in the House where they could build the bill back up before anything would happen. Well, we've learned a couple of things over the last 24 hours. First, this skinny repeal bill is pretty devastating. It would take health insurance away from 16 million people. Even though we haven't seen the bill, what we understand about it, we've been able to get the CBO to say, it would take health insurance away from 16 million people, the combined population of many states. It would increase premiums immediately beginning in January by about 20% over what they would currently be, and that's a compounding increase, 20% this year and an additional 20% on top of, i.e. 40% in the following year. So it would do those two things, and it would likely put the insurance market into a real spiral. Insurance companies would be pulling out of writing policies. That's what this skinny repeal bill would do. Here's something else we learned. 4 Republican senators did a press conference a couple hours ago and said they hate this bill. Lindsey Graham was the most colorful. He said this bill is a fraudulent disaster. But the 4 of them said, we might still vote for it. We might still vote for the fraudulent disaster as long as we know it will be in a conference in the House and we'll have a chance to work on it and then maybe make it better. These guys are dreaming. If they think it's a fraudulent disaster, first, anytime you call a bill a fraudulent disaster, you should vote against it. That's an important safety tip for the folks at home. But secondly, they are being deluded if they think when this bill passes and goes to the House will give them an opportunity to continue to shape and improve it. The House passed a procedural resolution earlier that's called the Marshall Rule, like martial law, that would enable them to fast-track a bill through the House immediately if the Senate sends one over. And the president's spokeswoman, Press Secretary Sanders, has said the president's anxious to sign this bill. He's ready. He's sitting here waiting. So this bill, the skinny repeal, which we still haven't seen after 7 or 8 years, the Republicans still haven't put a plan on the table they can coalesce around, will cost 16 million people insurance, will raise premiums by an escalating 20% compounding over the years, would destabilize the individual markets and cause insurers to come out. Even Republicans are describing it as a fraudulent disaster, but folks, they're still saying they might vote for it. So what you ought to do is call senators now, talk to them about your own health situation, and say any bill that a Republican senator says is a fraudulent disaster should not get a yes vote, but you get a no vote. The right answer is to put this in the committee. Senator McCain came on the floor the other day, made a passionate speech. Why don't we put this in the Health Committee, Health, Education, Labor, Pension, and let a bipartisan group of senators work on it. I'm on that committee. I have great ideas for ways to bring down premiums and increase insurance, and I'm anxious to have that chance if the Republicans will only get off this one-way train to passing the fraudulent disaster that is the bill currently underway. So keep the calls coming in, and we'll keep fighting. Thanks a lot.